Alright, welcome back everybody. Hopefully the distributed property is making sense to you. You're being able to follow along. So what we're going to do in this section is do a few examples of a couple things. One is the negative sign and distributing in that negative sign. The next is working with numbers and the variable to be able to distribute that in and how that looks. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off, we have a number with a negative sign. So this is a negative number getting distributed in. I'm going to move the camera just a little bit. So according to what our visuals that we had, this would be our visuals. The two lines making sure that we understand that the number needs to go to both of those inside of that group. So -2 times x. -2x. Oh, and I would encourage you to try these because most of these you could do with the two examples of videos for the distributed property that I've made before this one. Hopefully pause the video, try these out just a little bit, and see if you can work these. So now we have a -2 times 7, -14. These are not like terms. I cannot put them together, and so we will move on to the next one. This would be at this point, this would be as much as you could do. The reason that is because we actually don't have an equal sign. We can't solve for x. All right. This is called an expression. We talked about that earlier in a different video. So, distributed property, I have my group here of two terms, and then I have my single. Now, the difference between this one and this one is it's just on the other side. You can still do that. You're multiplying right here. Use your lines as your visuals. -3y times 15. Sorry, -3 times 5. I'm giving you the answers. Now, something that I see that trips people up is they will leave this without bringing everything onto the answer here. Have to bring your variables with it. So now we're going to go ahead and do this one. So that's a negative times a negative should be a positive answer. So -3, there's a 1 here technically, and so it's 3. Now we have a y times y, so we understand that should be y squared, and there you go. Now once again, these are not like terms because I have a y with it's actually a first power and a y to the second power. Those two cannot be put together. Okay, so this would be our answer for right now because we don't have the equal sign like I said. So this one, I wanted to make sure we understand this one really good because this one gets a lot of my students that I've seen, trips them up and really messes them up. This is just a negative sign. The negative sign next to the parentheses really throws people off. But it's just as if you have a -1 there. And we distribute just like we would on any normal problem with the distributive property. We're trying to get that to go into those other groups, or into that group. And really, what it's going to do is it's just going to change the signs. Negative times a positive is a -2x. Negative times a negative is a positive 11. So you can tell all it's done is just change the signs from what we originally had to now our answer. But if putting the 1 there helps you, that's great. But really, most of the time from what I've seen, the problems and the tests will just have a negative there, and it will be part of a bigger problem usually, but that is a big one to make sure that you understand how to do. Let's move on to this one. So once again, your lines, and you can do the lines as you do it. That way you can make sure that you understand that I've done this one, and then you do it, and then I've done the next one, okay? So if I was doing it that way, put my line, -3 times 2, my answer is going to start to be negative. 3 times 2 is now 6, and the x follows down. All right, so now I did that one. Move on to the next one. So now I have -3. There's no number here, so I'm going to stick with the -3. And now I have an x and a y. You can still put those together. X and y are just variables. They are not like what we did here with the y squared because they were both the same. This one is different. So this one's x, this one's y, and so it's really easy. All you have to do is put the x and y there. Now, this has an x and this has an x, but they are not the same term because this does not have a y and this one does. You cannot put those two together. So, you would be done at this point with your distributive property. And that would be the end of the answer. All right, last one here. We're moving into this problem. This one, I've seen this one mess up a lot of kids. All right, you have a 15t minus your group or your parentheses. Now, what I've seen in past is that they will take this number and distribute it in, and miss that this negative is actually part of is actually next to the group. So instead of taking the 15t, we need to take the negative and distribute that one in. Okay, it's whatever is next to the parentheses. It's not the first numbers; it's whatever is next to it. So our answer here would be 15t, just dropping this one down. I'm not doing anything with it yet. So now I have a -t, make this a little bigger for you, -t, +4. Now hopefully you caught that there's like terms in here. This one is a 15t and this one is a -t. These two are like terms. I can put those two together, and so it's a +15 and a -1t. So that would be 14t, and then the +4 would just be added on. Oh, and I didn't. So there you go. That is the end of the problem there. You got 14t +4. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Try these problems again and again until you can get them. If you need to, look up online some more practice problems and be able to find those problems. All right.